What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of BKNY Hoops. If you are new to the channel, I am your host, as always, Rashid White. All right, we'll get into a live stream Friday night. Today is Thursday as I'm recording this video, and it will actually be a big live stream. It will be, I think, regarding Cooper Flag and some interesting news that comes out about him right there. So let's get into this over here, man. This actually comes from, I think, Yard Barker, and it talks about maybe D'Angelo Russell being more than just a trade filler, and he could be maybe a long-term solution for the Brooklyn Nets in terms of point guard. So we've seen, you guys saw how Charlotte, right? Charlotte didn't have a point guard, and it's bad. And you see when we do have point guards, if D'Angelo's playing or Ben Simmons is actually playing, the offense looks way better, right? Not everybody is the greatest ball handler really out there. Not everybody's the greatest passer out there. And not everybody actually really wants to run the actual position. The point guard position is the hardest position to actually play in basketball, man. So this comes from Yardbark over here. And listen, if the Nets are really seriously, uh, you know, um, seriously considering like competing for a championship, D'Angelo Russell is not your point guard, man. It's just not it. We're gonna go over this article. I'm gonna get into the reasons why um, that is, right? So you're talking about a person who actually was a fan of D'Angelo Russell, right? When the Nets had him, and when they were bringing over Kyrie Irving to replace him, I'm like, I don't know if I like that right now. I like D'Angelo's passing, right? He's excellent in the PNR. He's a good catch and shoot, a 3-point shooter, right? But you did when I watched Kyrie, right? The first or second game he actually played, then I'm like, oh, okay, I understand why we do. You do want Kyrie because of the pressure that he actually puts on the defense, and D'Angelo just does it. D'Angelo doesn't really kind of do that right there, man. So it says over here. Let me get into the meat of this article. I don't want to go over the whole thing over here. It says Russell remains a valuable asset. He provides much needed scoring for the Nets team that has struggled to find a consistent offensive rhythm. His ability to create shots for both himself and his teammates adds a dimension Brooklyn has lacked at times. However, concerns remain. His shot selection can be erratic. His defensive limitations have been a weakness. And listen, there's nothing he really can actually do about that, right? And it says over here he was 6'3". I thought he was more like 6'5". So okay, I gotta look that up. I thought when he first got drafted, he said he was a 6'5" point guard. That's one of the things I liked about him too, was his size. But if he's 6'3" and with that type of athleticism that he doesn't have, then that's actually really bad. Right? So it says that Brooklyn views him as a fundamental piece. An extension could be on the table, particularly if it believes his experience and leadership can help guide their young core. The Nets look at next. No, sorry. The Nets could look to replicate elements of the 2019 blueprint, building a balanced roster around a cohesive backcourt and a gritty defensive identity. You're not replicating the 2019 Brooklyn Nets. The league has definitely changed, right? These players that came into the league is just the athleticism, um, guys who were like Giannis and Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell. All these guys are way more experienced now, right? Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, all these guys are just way more. Desmond Bain, like all these guys are just way more experienced. It's one thing when all those guys are young and they're still learning the game, but a lot of these guys are like into their fifth, sixth, seventh year, and there's just no way D'Angelo Russell, from a matchup perspective, even just matches up to any of these players, man. Uh, where was I over here? Okay, on the other hand, if Russell fits remain questionable, the Nets could let him walk in free agency, open up a significant cap space to pursue a more dynamic playmaker. Yes. So why are we even talking about this, Yard Barker? Like, why? You guys understand it. You guys get it, right? I think you guys are just looking for a story, man. I says, His next few months in Brooklyn will determine whether he's a key part of the franchise future or merely a temporary solution on their path forward. So, all right, let me get into the reasons why D'Angelo is really a bad option, right? He does not put any pressure on the defense in terms of being able to actually collapse it, right? He needs um, it like he's not good at going to his right hand. If he was really like good at going to his right hand, as good as going to his left hand, then yeah, maybe. But in like defense, right? He doesn't provide you any type of resistance against the bigger wings, right? Like Anthony Edwards, the Donovan Mitchells, like these explosive, dynamic guards, right? Who can play above the rim. And when that happens, when they target him, and like I say in the 7 game series, you've seen it with the Lakers last year, right? They'll target him, they spread the floor out, and they target him. You have to send immediate help. If not, it's going to be easy 2 point baskets after 2 point baskets, right? So let's say the more non-athletic, below the rim guards, like let's say Tyrese Maxey, right? Not an above the rim guy, but like quickness. He doesn't give you any. He doesn't give you any kind of resistance whatsoever, man. It's the same thing. He just doesn't put any. Like he can't force like a Tyrese Maxey or like let's say an Anthony Edwards, who let's say their primary goal right now, let's say is to get to the rim, right? He can't force them into like a second or third like option, right? So let's say, can you force Anthony Edwards or like Donovan Mitchell into like a pull up jump shot, right? Can you do that? No, right? So as soon as he plays defense on those guys, they have to send help, and we see, right? You guys see it. This is why so-called the NBA ratings are down because of so many threes that NBA teams actually takes. So and if NBA teams are making their threes at a high clip, the game is over. And especially like in terms of guarding the three, I even forgot all about that. Um, he doesn't have the foot speed to get out there and chase guys off the 3 point line. You see how quickly these guys can pull up from three or get their shots off. And then in terms of his size, let's say if you have a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guy that can shoot threes, like they can shoot right over him. He just doesn't provide. There's a reason why he got shipped around, right? He got passed around like a hooker on Friday night, like a cheap hooker, as a matter of fact, like one of them like $10, $15 hookers, man. Not even like a high quality like escort service or anything like that. Like one of them cheap hookers where you go to if you're from the Bronx, you go to the Hunts Point section, right? I heard them stories back in the days, man. Y'all remember that show Hookers at the Point on HBO? All right. Yeah, so I mean, I think Yard Barker actually gets it. I just think they're trying to throw something out there. Um, and that's another thing too. Like he gets disinterested being off the basketball, right? So there's times where you could have a big man come, let's say, set a pick for him, set a screen on him, and let's say if Dayron Sharp is actually playing, he's a big 265-pound guy, and they could set a pick for D'Angelo, and he doesn't really want to do that. That's like kind of technically being off the ball, right? But he wants to be like with the ball in his hands, and if not, he gets disinterested. So that's not really good, man. You have to be like kind of like multi-dimensional when it comes to playing basketball. You can't just be a one-trick pony. So yeah, I would pass on D'Angelo Russell if the Nets are really trying to actually contend for a championship, which I think should be the goal of every single team out there. That's if the Brooklyn Nets are actually serious. All right, so definitely like, comment, subscribe, share the stream, live stream Friday night. As a matter of fact, I'll see how the energy. I gotta get up at 4:30 in the morning, and gotta practice tomorrow night. We'll see, we'll see. All right, definitely like, comment, subscribe, certainly share the stream. When you share this video, the universe shares back with you.